over here is our best friend when it comes to figuring out slope, because it's already in slope-intercept form. So we know that the number in front of x is our slope, which means the slope of this line is 3. 1 down, 2 to go. Well, the magic of this one came from the fact that y was already by itself for us, so we're going to come over here and get this y by itself. So we're going to start, we haven't done this in a while, but we're going to start by taking this x term and throwing it to the other side. So the 6y stays put, and when I move the 2x across the equal sign, it becomes negative 2x. Well, there's a minus 3 already there. Well, one step left. If I'm going to put this y by itself, I need to get rid of the 6, which is multiplying, so I divide. And remember, if I divide one term in an equation, I'm going to divide every term in the equation by that same number. So we get y equals negative 2 6. Well, since those are both even, we know that will reduce, and with or without a calculator, we should know that that turns out to be negative 1/3 x, and negative or minus 3 6 would reduce to minus 1/2. But really, all we wanted here was our slope, which is here. Well, let's kind of take inventory. Here we had 3 was our slope for B. Negative 1/3 is our slope for A. So the slope of A is negative 1/3. The slope of B is 3. Well, remember, we can stick a 1 under that. Well, if this is positive and the slope for A was negative, notice that 1 over 3 flips to give us 3 over 1. So we now know that A is perpendicular to B. But we're going to keep going and see if we can find any other relationships. So we have to isolate the y in C to be able to see the slope for this one. So again, we're going to move this x term to the other side, and since it's added, when we write this next step, we're going to have it as a negative 4.5 because we moved it to the other side. So far we have negative 1.5y equals negative 4.5x plus 6. So now we need to go through and divide by negative 1.5. Cancels here, leaves me y equals, and negative 4.5 divided by negative 1.5 is positive 3. And then plus 6 divided by negative 1.5 would be minus 4. But again, all we really wanted here was our slope, which is the number that's in front of x, and it's 3. So C has a slope of 3, aka 3 over 1. So B is parallel to C. Well, if these slopes are the same, and we've already decided that A is perpendicular to B, we also know that A is perpendicular to C, since they're the same. If that was a lot to take in, you can rewind it and look at that again. Let's look at another one. A little simpler question here on guided practice number 3. The question is line A perpendicular to line B? Once again, to answer that question, because to tell if things are parallel or perpendicular, I need the slope. I'm going to go through and isolate y in each equation so that I can compare the slopes when I do that. So again, we're going to pitch the x term to the other side, keep the 2y by itself. Since the x was added on the left, it will be negative or subtracted on the right. And the 12 didn't move, so it stays negative. We need to divide through by 2. Again, dividing each term. And remember, if there is no number in front of x, there's just a negative sign. That's really a negative 1 there. So my slope is negative 1/2, and then the y-intercept here is minus 6. But to decide if these two lines are perpendicular, really all I want is that number right there, the slope. So m equals negative 1/2. Let's look at the other one and see what happens. Well, in B we actually have less work to do because we need y by itself, and the only thing in the way is the 2. So we divide, and we get y equals, and again, dividing each term by 2 gives us 3 over 2x minus 4. Once again, all I want is the 3 over 2. And since this slope is 3 over 2, this is not the negative reciprocal of negative 1/2. So we would say A is not perpendicular to B. Example 2. Let's write an equation of a line through the point 1, -5 that is perpendicular to this given line. Well, once again, we've got to look at the slope of the line that's given to us, and this one too has a y by itself already, so that means whatever's in front of x is our slope. So the slope of the line we're given is 2/3. But remember, we want the lines to be perpendicular, which means that I'm going to flip that slope. So the 3's going on top now. And I've got to change the sign. So the slope of the line we need is -3/2. And the point was 1, 5. We've got a point, we've got a slope, so we write point slope form. Y minus blank equals blank times x minus blank. And we fill in the blanks with what we know. Slope goes in front of x, and the x-coordinate from our point goes with the x. The y-coordinate from our point goes with the y, and we clean it up. So we have y minus 5 equals, and when we distribute this -3/2, we get -3/2 x, and a negative multiplier changes the sign of everything inside, so now this is going to become a plus. 3/2. Now we need to toss this guy to the other side. Our little shortcut lets us just add 5, so we get -3/2 x plus 3/2 plus 5. So when we combine these like terms, the final equation is going to be y equals -3/2 x plus 13/2. Our final guided practice, you might want to pause the video and try this on your own, and then come back and see if you're right. Once again, we are given the fact that the line goes through a point, so that's our point, and perpendicular to this line means that I want to look at the slope of the line they gave me, and this slope is 4. Well, since we're talking about perpendicular here, remember, perpendicular means I got to flip the 4 and change its sign. So the slope of the line I'm looking for has to be negative because this one was positive. And remember, if the slope is a whole number, I can remind myself of what its run is by sticking a 1 under it. So if I flip 4 over 1, I get 1 over 4. So there's my slope, there's my point. So I use point slope form. Y minus blank equals blank times x minus blank. Stick the slope in front of the x, put the x with the x, and the y with the y, and then distribute and go to get y by itself. If I distribute a -1/4 onto x, I get -1/4 x, and again, a negative multiplier is going to change this minus to plus, and 1/4 of 4 is 1. The only thing left to do is to toss this 3 over, and remember when I toss it over, it becomes positive, and we lose it from the other side. So our final equation is y equals -1/4 x plus 4. Got it? Great. If not, rewind. Oh, that's terrible. Let's try again. Rewind and re-watch the video. Ask for help.